What's up, Go enthusiasts? Welcome back to a pro game recap. It's a pro game. Neither players have pro in their title. How is it a pro game? Because this is the game that crowned the newest European pro. The European Pro Quals just happened. It was a great tournament. I thought they did a nice job organizing it. They invited 12 of the strongest amateurs in Europe, had them play a round-robin tournament. And so there was 11 rounds. This was played in the 10th round, by which time each of these two players had pulled away and pretty commandingly taken enough of a lead that it was very likely whoever won this game was going to win a pro qualification tournament, as is what eventually happened. The two players are really both very famous amateur players, extremely, extremely strong. Benjamin Duran Guinazia, I hope I pronounced that correct. He's normally known as Ben Zero. I know him as Ben Zero. Ben Zero is his KGS name. He's been a very strong player for a while now, and a really, really great performance in this tournament. He actually was in my Twitch chat when I first ranked up to Fox 9 Dan, and congratulated me and gave me some encouraging words about reaching stable Fox 9 Dan, not just reaching the very lowest levels of Fox 9 Dan, which is what I'm, the skill level I'm at right now is to barely graze to Fox 9 Dan. So I need to improve to be able to survive there like he can. Lucas Podpera is also a very, very nice, well-known figure. Everyone has great things to say about Lucas Podpera, including me. I've spoken to him, I think, very briefly a while ago, but many of my friends are friends with him. And he has played, including this game, 7 games, where if he won, he would become the next European professional. The previous 6 didn't go so well, but this one, maybe this one is the one. Honestly, so many people are rooting for Lukan to finally. Lukan is, I think, it's also his KGS name. It's the name that a lot of us know Lucas Podpera by. So I'm going to be calling them Benzir and Lukan because that's just the way that I know them. Many people are rooting for Lukan to become a professional this tournament. He just barely missed the last qualifier against Jan Samara. He just barely missed the grand finals in the grand finals there. And this game was his chance to win the Pro Quals this year. Let's see. Did he take it, or did Ben Zero take a well-deserved transformation to Ben 1? Okay, so the game is starting here. Ben Zero has white, Lukan has black. Lukan is quite a territorial player. He's sort of Li Cheng-ho style. And he played some pretty influential moves in the beginning. He played fourth line, he played the high enclosure. I think that Lukan in particular likes to make large territories through influence. This is something that we sort of tend to advise our double-digit Q students not to do so much. It's better to learn how to fight. But for a player who can fight, then these kinds of positions are often very threatening to the opponent. So here, Lukan sets up this shape. Ben Zero is going to invade the corner. And Lukan is happy to just have this strong position on the left side. And if that would all become black territory, that would obviously be way too much. It wouldn't actually, like in a high-level game, that would never just casually solidify. But it could be a threat. And it could force an invasion, force a positive fight. There are lots of ways that Lukan can use that to try to control the game. So he's going to approach here, make sure there's some other areas nearby, and Ben Zero attaches really common move against the one-space high enclosure these days. And Lukan plays the outside direction. I like playing this way myself a lot recently. And he plays this two-space pincer, which I learned in a YouTube video of mine. I think one of the Chicago Open, it was the first day of the Chicago Open. I played this Joseki many times, and each time I played here and was very happy, and then my opponent would answer, and then they were very happy, and I didn't notice. So actually this one is better, because white is pretty hard to handle. It's not that easy to save those stones. Ben Zero shows the perfect way. He played attach here, and then Atari this way to capture. So that means Ben Zero has a lot of potential eye space and eye shape with that group on the top side here. Yeah, it would have been a lot easier to do it just simply Atari and Tiger. But you can see here, this kind of Hane is really painful. The shape on the top side is not so easy to handle, not so easy to make it into two clear, clean eyes. So that's why instead capturing like this, it made the shape better. Black was quite a bit more comfortable. Or sorry, white was quite a bit more comfortable. So the game is still even, of course. I mean, maybe you could argue white's a bit better, but it wouldn't really appear at this level of play. I mean, it's very, very hard to make a serious use out of the maybe tiny advantage that white got to save this nicely, and then that they can run and keep pressure. Obviously, the rest of the game will continue, and the fighting will sway just as much per move as whatever white's advantage is now. Okay, Lukan plays here. This move, it's somewhat popular now. It used to be that we would play sort of every time just diagonal back or jumping back. But in particular, when he already has a space back here, it'd be over-concentrated to come back. So it makes a lot of sense in this particular case to try to sweep under the white corner and to make sure that his base on the top side is not particularly over-concentrated or inefficient in some way, as it could very well be if he allowed white to kick next move and connect. So white should answer with the bamboo here. There were other ways to answer as well, I think, but this one is the easiest, where white is now very firmly connected and can still go to the corner, can still go to attack the group on the right side. That attack on the right side would be the most important thing, so black defends it, takes the base, and Ben Zero takes the corner. So this looks like an even variation to me. It looks like everything is fine for both players, and black comes back to play this extend, which is a really, really big move. It might have been big enough to even take immediately, but I think the reason why Lukan did not immediately extend here was probably because he thought this kick and knight's move would come, and then this black would be over-concentrated. So speaking from a way to avoid over-concentration, avoid becoming too small on the top side, double approaching and going into this variation and saving everything like this is like a really smooth way to do it. I think Lukan was showing some really nice flow here to handle the upper right, to make sure that couldn't become anything bad immediately, and then to come back to take this really important shape point, sort of radiate some power throughout this left side of the board. So Ben Zero comes in. He says, the reason why this stuff is not played that often at a high level is that this invasion is quite hard to deal with. In general, white will do some kind of invasion, and you've got to figure out a way to handle it. As black, it's not always very easy to handle it. In this case, it's pretty clear that we should approach from this side. I think this is the right direction. There was some cutting issue over here. If we wouldn't answer there, it takes some territory, and the white group will still be weak. Particularly this extend means white cannot really get unsurrounded here. White can't jump out. Black will just knight's move and cover it. So white wouldn't be able to become out, become able to run and not be surrounded. It kind of already is surrounded. So yeah, this is exactly the kind of position that a lot of my students sort of complain to me about. Okay, I'm surrounded on a large scale. There are resources. There's ways to do stuff. How? How do I do it? Ben Zero shows exactly the perfect way. And in fact, Ben Zero, he streamed on Twitch a few years ago. And during one of those streams, he talked about the way that he approaches this kind of position. And it's exactly his words that I've echoed to my students for these years since then, which is that whenever you invade, reduce or invade, you have to do so with a target. So the reason why originally he played this invasion is because he had a target of some cutting point over here that he could use to take the base pretty comfortably if black would play from the other side. So when black covers that target, then he says, okay, how do I want to save it? Do I want to just run out, use the empty space? No, because there's no target there. Black is very strong. So instead he plays here. He's saying there's a target of those black stones that I could connect under, I could turn and attack them. Black needs to answer like this. And Ben Zero continues very smoothly attaching underneath. His idea is to build some space on the left side using the target here. Black needs to continue to reinforce that shape, plays the wedge, and white can reinforce his own shape. So you can see how smooth this is. Black answers, protecting the potential white connection and threatening to capture those 2 stones, and white just saves the group. White got so many moves in a row. Originally the position looked like this. I'm sure many people would be uncomfortable. And then afterwards, after a small sequence, it looks like this. I'm sure many people would feel very comfortable as white here. And the truth is, actually, white didn't even gain anything at all. This was just the way that white was supposed to do it. Even you could argue that white didn't do it enough. There was some interesting commentary in the live coverage by EGF about whether this extend was better than the jump here. And I think that it was. After extend, black would want to block to prevent white from linking up very smoothly, and that would leave the cutting points behind, so white can come back to save this, leave these black cutting points, and when black fixes them, white could even just directly use these forcing moves. This area of black looks a little over-concentrated, so white would have already taken a lot of territory and could actually just leave that area. There's no need to even play there urgently. If black tries to build it, you can just reduce it anytime. So this was also playable, and it would leave more of a target later. So you can see Ben0's method is really, his understanding is really true. Even if he makes a mistake here, it's only because he doesn't follow his understanding enough. Yeah, it was well played to answer all the way like this. Lukan captured those 2 stones. This move makes a lot of sense. This group can continue to be very weak. If black gets the chance to play this diagonal move, it's still potentially surroundable. And the black group, which could theoretically have been weak as well, is not really going to be weak after this. And at the same time, it's big on territory. It just takes some points at the same time. So Ben0 continued to just jump here. I think he was thinking that if he wouldn't jump, if he would play some other area, that eventually later black could come back to seize an initiative over here, and it could be annoying. It's not like immediately that's going to be a big deal, but just someday it will be. So controlling this is valuable when black has all these influences. Just having a direction to run in front of those influences makes it so that they can never really form an area. So black continued to play away. And so black is actually slightly leading according to AI now, just because maybe white was a little passive to jump instead of playing the push, but it's no big deal. Again, this game is still super close. And yeah, okay, this was really interesting. Lukan approached on the bottom side, which is standard. He didn't want to approach on the right side because he thought, I assumed that he could become over-concentrated there, become too small. He'd rather play on the bottom side. It makes sense. And then he slid, which is quite interesting. Most people here, I'll say pretty much every person here who isn't Lukan, will play attach and hane. It just is the modern way. And a lot of people expect this Joseki. It happens all the time. It's the modern way. And it looks to me like the white influence means nothing in this case, that the black stones are perfectly positioned to mitigate that white influence. So this would be an ideal variation for black. But instead, Lukan chose to play the slide here. It was really interesting. After the slide, the modern punish is that we can play this pincer or the attach on the bottom side. Either way, if we answer here, the white group is a little bit too small. So then when black makes a nice base on the bottom side, black has a lot of territory in the white shape, not so much territory. Considering white had the corner first, we think it's like ever so slightly slow to go back and come back and take that territory for real. So we'd rather take an initiative, try to make something big on the bottom side. Black jumped here. This move actually shocked me when I was watching the game, because every time that I've seen people slide, the intention seems to be that they go to the corner. Like the downside of the previous variation is that you can't really get the corner, and the upside of this one is that you definitely can, unless they go back to block you, which is slow. I believe after this, oops, not this way. I believe after this that Ben0 would have played this way, because it's the common good way. And maybe Lukan didn't like this because he can't do the triple hane, as this ladder is working for white. And even more than just working for white, it's working for white without even many ladder breaker threats over here. This white group is really quite strong on the left side after this jump. The jump paid off. So maybe instead we would do this modern variation, which happens. But at this point there's still a ladder, so probably we need to jump it out, run it out, and you could just fight, I don't know, something like this. It looks to me like this would be totally fine for black, but I can understand why Lukan might not want to do it, because it's possible that white could get like a nice shape on the bottom side and a nice shape on the right side. But I don't know if it would exactly happen. Anyway, Lukan played this jump. I'm pretty curious why he played this jump, allowing white to take the area. Now that black has jumped here and restricted this white base a bit more, restricted that white movement a bit more, it seems to be even more valuable to play into the corner. And then, yeah, Lukan played the pincer here, which can apply some pressure to this white group as well. It seemed like Lukan was thinking this is the way to use his influence on the left, or something like that. That he wanted to make fighting on the bottom side some kind of weak group versus weak group action. It was quite interesting. So white played this jump, which I think is the right move, because this group in the corner can either be killed or surrounded, but neither at the same time. If black really does try to surround it, then white will be able to save it easily. And if black tries to stop it from making two eyes, white will be able to run it easily. So he said, you know, I don't need to bother doing anything. If black surrounds, it's not a particularly important area. So just jumping here is a particularly important area. Make sure that he can save his stone and put pressure on these 3 stones. And Lukan answered that pressure by going into the corner with his push. You can see his territorial style. He didn't want to play just jump here. Later, white could play this push and save the group with all the territory. And Lukan would sort of have invested into having power on the bottom side. He'd have to get it back by attacking these stones. That's his theory, I imagine. So by pushing here first, instead he gets some territory to save this group. Obviously, if he could play in the corner next, he could save it directly. So Ben0 actually answered. And that allowed Lukan to play on the other side and continue to press this white group, and white needed to save it somehow, playing this bump. This was quite interesting. I've never seen someone actually like get this push, and it was good, and it was like smart at a high level. Maybe that just means I haven't been watching enough pro games lately or something like that, because it seems to work really well, honestly. I don't think that Ben0 would have been better off not blocking, since these backstones were weak. But since white was also weak, after this block and after this, there's a peep here, which can threaten to steal away the white space. That's what Ben0 is blocking when he plays this bump. But even after the bump here, it doesn't mean that the white shape is totally safe, or that it's totally big. Like, black has still managed to reduce into the corner a little bit. Well, anyway, he chooses to save his group on the bottom side now, which is the right thing to do. You wouldn't want to answer again on the right side, because it would become over-concentrated. This stone would lose its meaning, right? We don't want that stone to lose its meaning. So jump here makes a lot more sense to apply pressure to those. And Ben0 played the hane outside. It's just a very natural move to break a large knight's move relationship and press out, keep this group under pressure. Since it's under pressure, Lukan chooses to run on top of the weak group on the bottom side. Makes total sense. White saves here, and black jumps out here. So white wanted to make the base, prevent black from being able to threaten a connection under. And black obviously had to jump out, and white should save his group here on the bottom side. His group in the corner can still save itself with an attach under anytime, or by running to the corner. So he's safe, and he's safe here. And he's basically asking Lukan, okay, I got something on the right side, you got some kind of attack on the bottom side, but you can't kill anything, so how are you going to get value? This is a very common question that strong players ask each other. You have an attack, you can't kill, what are you doing now? And it's always quite awkward and hard to answer. In this case, Lukan chose to play from the center. So he was thinking he could continue to apply pressure to this group, and as it runs in this direction, he might be able to make an attack work on the other side group. It's a pretty reasonable plan. So Ben0 played to run out, he has to, and Lukan played here. Actually, apparently, he could have played the inside Hane. This is a rarely played move. Usually it's going to be bad. Because most of the time, being sort of behind in the pushing battle here has a serious cost. Now white will play here, and you can't ladder this stone, so it's really awkward to play from this moment. I'm sure if Lukan read this variation all the way to here, he probably saw this position and thought, I can't really play it. I don't know what to do from here. The AI was saying that there's something to do, but honestly, I've already forgotten. It doesn't really make that much sense to me to do anything. Like maybe I think AI said something like this. What this has done, it transitioned the fight into one where this white group on the bottom side is like mostly surrounded, and if it wants to press out further, it would actually help black a lot to get these thickening moves. And we're just sort of trying to compress white. We're trying to restrict them. It's a common method of fighting, particularly when you're fighting on offense, that the best attack when you can't kill is just some sort of restriction and force them to do something small. And as long as you're doing something that's of moderate value while they do something of less than moderate value, you are gaining. That being said, this is the more natural way to think about doing this. This is a more simple way to do that. Then white pulled back, made a lot of sense, run the group, and black attached here. Because eventually here, when white is building all this strength, white is thinking I'll peep and I'll surround these two stones on the bottom side, that would be a big problem, big trouble. So black wants to save those two stones, and he found a nice plan. This attach, normally this would be bad, because when white plays this bump and Hane, if white could connect the stones together, because black had accidentally created some new weaknesses on top, then this would be a disaster suddenly for black. Black would be getting nothing, and white would be saving all of his stones and taking territory at the same time. Fortunately, Lukan prepared a great move here already. He did it when he played that attach. He had this move prepared. You can feel free to pause the video and find it. Lukan played the cut here, which was an excellent move. Ben0 had to come back to capture it and allow Lukan to split the shape on the bottom side, therefore making this white group still weak. If Ben0 had not done that and instead Atari'd here and tried to cover this, if black would answer, that would be great, but black will not. Black will split this shape. And of course, if we die in the bottom left corner, nothing is worth it on the bottom side. So this had to be the way it would go. And Ben0 cut. So this is a good cut to run out the group. We have to save our group on the bottom side. It just got a lot weaker since black got a bunch of stones right next to our base. We don't really have eyes anymore, so we have to run it out. And he chose to run it out through the center, through this cut, and against the black group. So he's thinking that this black group in the center can be his target for later, but for now he has to save his group. Always, when you reduce, invade, save your weak group, Ben0 always has a target. It's a good way to play the game. Okay, so he played this Atari, which makes sense, he needs to run his group, and then he chose to play Tengen to save that stone in the center. So he's thinking about that target, that group in the center. But to be honest, it was a little too much. It's always really hard judgment when you can start the fight and when you should just still wait for the fight. But in this case, he should have waited for the fight. And you can tell by the way that the game proceeded. Lukan played that turn, which is a really nice move. Ben0 has to answer like this, but still there's a really annoying peep. So Lukan has created some territory, really prospective territory, in that left center, just by making that one move, and played this Hane, which it's really awkward. Ben0 doesn't want to play the jump because there's a bamboo breaking move, so he has to play empty triangle, and that empty triangle is just clearly bad shape. Yeah, Lukan plays a forcing move on the bottom side and then just runs. From this position, you can see that it isn't really white attacking black as much as black continuing to attack white in the center. So if black continues to attack white in the center, you can expect black to be getting more value. Black should be the one getting outside value, be the one taking profit from this attack. So setting up a fight where our opponent is going to be getting the value is not recommendable. Basically what it means is the commit at this point, Ben0 left himself the weakness by running out this stone in order to access the black weaknesses, but it was not a worthwhile commitment at this time. It would have been better to play here. And yeah, in general, people underestimate this giving up of a cutting stone a lot. Black has a problem when you do this kind of give up method, that black can often be too slow. So actually, this extending move, very natural extending answer, is a mistake for black. Black should not play there. It would let white to take this very, very valuable spot, saving the right side group, making sure that this strong area that black is setting up on the right side will never be too valuable. So actually, yeah, if you played that push from behind, this is its own kind of pressure. The the extend is a serious mistake. Black is supposed to go to play on the right side right now, play this move, and take the territory, put the pressure on over here, and let white take this pushing battle. But this is really painful for black to have to answer the Atari there. So yeah, Ben0 did this one because he thought this can apply a lot of pressure to save his group with the maximum amount of counter fighting available afterwards. But actually he could have applied pressure just by threatening that black would be too slow to answer. That's the more common way to apply pressure in this kind of a pushing battle. It's the easier way, I should say. It's the more pedestrian. I shouldn't say common in terms of like rarity. Common in terms of like ease of use of strategy is what I'm trying to talk about. Okay, so this way, Ben0 did it the hard way, which in general is recommended against Lukan. Lukan is a very solid player, so most people who do things the easy way against Lukan just find themselves losing in the end. That's why from here, Ben0 sees, oh, I'm losing control of these stones, I'm losing control of the right side. Let me attach across, try to start a fight, try to start an initiative, find my way back into this game. And Lukan answers with the Hane. White connects here. This move was actually a mistake because when Lukan continued to just extend here, those 3 stones got really lonely. It was really hard for white to come back to access them because when white was thinking about making cuts, then all the time these 3 stones could be shorted liberties, and it was really hard. So it would have been better to extend if you're going to play in the center. Ben0 thought if he extends, then this exchange is Lukan's right, and that's a lot of territory to give up in Sente. But at the same time, you would get a potential push through here, which is a lot of value in terms of the threat towards the threat towards the black shape. So this one was actually a slightly slow move. Most people who do these slightly over-aggressive things, like Ben0 did in the center, also do these slightly slow things. It's a little bit of a descriptor of my playstyle. I also find myself doing the slightly too aggressive and slightly too slow type moves. Lukan was very happy to just extend here. Probably too happy, because he just extended here as well. I think it's a little bit below Lukan's level to extend here. The proper vital point is not to allow your opponent the mouth-shaped vital point, which Ben0 proceeds to quite quickly implement. And it's really awkward for black. You can see in this continuing fighting, the way this is going to work is that black just felt bullied, and then answered with one move, and then answered with another move. Meanwhile, white was getting all the moves that he wanted to save his group. And this attack that we were talking about how black was more attacking than he was defending, so he should be getting something from that. It's basically just vanished, with black maybe getting a couple points over here in the center for his return. White is super thick now in the center. So, yeah, something went wrong, and it mostly started with this extend, which could have just been here, and then you can always answer this like so. This was the more classical, proper, good shape for black, and you don't even have to answer this next move. he wanted to be ahead in the pushing battle here, but it didn't work out so well because the cutting point was actually something that he had to worry about. Most of the time, Lukan would know that sort of thing, but I think here he just felt too comfortable, having already achieved a really strong pushing battle over here. He's like, oh, I can just get ahead and ahead, and surely it's good. you can sort of lure yourself into a false sense of security when you have already won a battle in one type of way, that you can keep doing it, winning it the same type of way the next time. So Ben Zero, he's gonna try to reverse the game. He's gonna try to exploit these psychological ideas. Jumping here was making a lot of sense. Obviously, when he invades, reduces, handles the weak group, he does it with a target. He's looking at this black group and the black group on the right side as well. So yeah, Lukan answering here was making a lot of sense, really. There would have been some trickery with that double peeping if he doesn't answer. Actually, maybe he could have answered here. This probably was very tempting to Lukan, but it would leave a push and cut here for white, which the ladder is working. It's running to the right side, you can see. So because of that, probably, Lukan chose not to play this connect. The AI still had it as its best move, even though white could push and cut, because black could just save the group separately anyway. But Lukan probably was realizing that he's quite significantly ahead here. He's a very good player at playing when he's ahead. He often takes these kinds of leads super smoothly into the endgame and into just a one game. So this is one of the ways that he does it, is he plays the very, very strong, thick move and makes it so that the game is as unlosable as possible. That's the plan, at least. Yeah, this kind of move is always a bit of a bombshell to deal with, though. It's so hard to consistently handle that kind of move. And the the answering that Lukan continued to play here, it was wrong to push from behind and just answer like this. And it feels wrong when you're doing it, but you're also thinking when you do it like, well, I just have no other way. If I don't do this, then white's block will be so strong and they can try to capture my 2 stones and probably succeed to capture those 2 stones unless black does something even more shape horrible in the future. So the reason why it was wrong to answer is not because there's some better way to handle it locally, but because black was supposed to give up those 2 stones at this point. If you go for this kind of bad shape, then already you're suffering. That's what I learned when I was studying this game. Already it's suffering, so you may as well suffer in different ways. You may as well switch the kind of suffering that you're doing. If white captures those 2 stones, that doesn't mean they're alive. That's only one eye, first of all. Kind of a crazy way to speak. But also this white group on the other side, this full connected group, that one is also not alive. Also a crazy way to speak. But if black would like combine those things, even the topside group as well, we're going to see Lukan mess around with this as well in the future. Excuse me. We mess around with that. Mess around with this one. Rawr. I'm going after everything. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the maybe answer here, use the peep, use the thing there. So after this one, set up a shape like this, and now you can see this whole white group is my target. I'm going to attack it. It's ruthless. This is this exact sort of thing Lukan does not want to do when he's leading a game. He does not want to go all in, invest into an attack, give something up. Maybe the attack fails, and then he loses the game. And then it would make no sense to play like that if you know you can just win an endgame. So he plays like this. He plays the standard way, and he knows he loses a little bit, but he just wants to let the game end smoothly. So it goes like this. And black's lead is down to only like 3 or 4 points, according to the AI. Usually, at this level, they actually know about that sort of thing. They know that black should be leading a little bit, and they're going to try to play the endgame smoothly. So Lukan starts by playing these moves on the top side. Apparently, Ben Zero isn't supposed to answer this, but to argue that in a human way is just insane. The idea would be that when black wins the ko and then wins the ko again, you can make another ko. So at the end of the day, this is about a 3-stage ko. Is that how it works when you go from ko to ko to ko? Is it a two-stage ko? I don't even know how to describe it. But the idea would be that even if we played away now, this move is so big on the right side. So if we played away and we let that group be literally ko, and we just, I don't know, let's play some random moves. Even if black connects here, we still have this resource to try to save the group somehow in the end. Or if black answers, then we can try to set up a massive eye space and have the group be safe. At least, I hope it would be safe. I think this is the right way. Maybe you need to even play the tiger's mouth here. Is it working? Yeah, I think this one's working. So the idea then, black has to play the ko. And if black has to take the ko, win the ko, and then Wei has another ko to save the group, eventually, this is just so many stones for black to invest to kill this group that it might not even be worth it. So that's what the AI was saying. Zero doesn't have to answer here. But this answer is still like such a big move. The group is safe, you can capture the one stone on the top side, you can harass the cuts in the center. And I think in particular the cuts in the center were really, really nice. But Lukan could play the big move. Yeah, this is definitely the biggest move remaining on the board. It fixes so much of the center Aji, and at the same time takes so much territory on the right, makes this group on the bottom right of white even potentially a target in the future. But this move by Ben0, also very, very, very good. Peep, sort of, and peep again, sort of. This sets up some nastiness going on over here. There's a lot of potential cuts that white could pull. This move of white is sort of like Sente, then white could cut, and then cut. And if this move is sort of like Sente, then white could cut again over here, and then this top side could be weak. And this part, there's still a cut over here to worry about, even after black answers those things. So black should answer something. And he chooses to answer with this move, a very, very natural move, taking away the white potential eye. So white should come live the group over there. And at the same time, adding a stone that's useful for these connection issues. But I think probably if Lukan could play the game again, he probably wouldn't play here. Even though it was so potentially valuable, it just didn't really make the game comfortable, because a lot of the connection resource that he has is underneath this ko, which if he ever ends up fighting, he's not going to be having a fun time of it. So like the way that he wants to play the rest of the game, he doesn't want to use that ko. But the ko is a major part of the reason why this move is even worth it in the first place. So probably from his strategic standpoint, it would have been better to play some other defensive move here. Maybe to play on the outside like this first, see the white response, and then answer somehow separately. Like you could actually probably just answer again here, right? I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. But it looks like we can answer a couple times like this. This is so annoying. I don't want to have to give this kind of thing up. Maybe not like that. Here, and then here. Something very direct. It's so annoying, right? You can see this is why Ben0 has played this move. And a lot of the time, honestly, you know what? Maybe he should just go for this cut. A lot of the time we can use this cut to capture those stones. So maybe that's the correct way. Push here and cut. But there's a deficiency in the territory on the left side if you go for that cut. White can sacrifice those two stones and get a lot of territory over there. So you can see how awkward White has made black's life by going after black's weaknesses with this thing which is just barely related to white's shape in its own way. Black answered here. And white captured that one stone. And life is getting really tricky for black. So he plays here trying to make it biggest space as possible on the top side. And at the same time press this white group. You know, white was pressing all these black weaknesses, but he still is weak on the center. And he still is weak in the upper right corner. So he should answer that somehow, right? He plays the turn. That makes him connected. And it puts a lot of pressure on the right side black group territory. And Lukan loves territory, so he answered. He played this Hane. And Ben0 did this great timing, by the way, of this cut. If it were me playing, I would definitely play here and just assume I could get this cut later and get this, and that's the best I could do. But Ben0 knows he should cut first before answering. Then if black would play here, then the ko is much more serious without exchanging that. There's still a cutting point issue over there. So because he exchanged the cut and capture right now, black answered there, and then white could play here. So it was much improved order by Ben Zero, just there, capturing the stone. Very, very nice. Lukan answers. By answering, he gives white a chance to save this group somehow. What Lukan is thinking is like, oh, I have the right side territory. White will answer, somehow live this whole group, this group in the center and the corner. But Ben Zero is thinking, counterattack. This is my chance. This is my one moment. If I just lay down, then of course Lukan will win. He had a lead going into this part. Ben Zero plays here. And it's really a fantastic move. Fantastic, fantastic move. The first thing that I thought when I saw this move is, well, certainly I don't have to play here. The move that Lukan played. I thought, no way I have to play there. Okay, this move is aiming at that weakness, but I can answer on this side. And if Ben Zero dares to use this Sente move, if black answers here now, then this cut will be very serious. Those 5 stones are not sacrificable, and then the whole thing would die. So then I would have to answer here. And if he really dares cut like this, then I can just save it. And if he dares cut again, then I'll go ahead and capture these stones, and I'll be fine. So it seems like all of these weaknesses over here can't be too bad. But if you play this move, Ben Zero would not have gone for those cuts right away. What he would have done is he would have started with this move. And then you start realizing, hang on a second, my topside black group cannot live locally. So at this moment, I have to come back and save it. I have to connect it back. And then, why the heck would I have exchanged this horrible, horrible exchange of Tiger's Mouth for white going in and breaking all my shape and cutting me everywhere? Terrible. No way I'm going to do that. I think that this is why Lukan answered. He realized, even if he plays here, then Ben will still play here. Ben Zero will still play here, and this group still cannot live. If he plays like this, and here, then cut is so strong, you can't capture those 2 stones and live. If you try, then you're dead. So it would be like this, and here, and then still there's a cutting issue. So white would have captured these 2 stones, black would have no territory, and black still wouldn't be able to save the group comfortably. Oh, well, even is the point, right? So he answered. But this was the losing move. Because Ben Zero had a really great move lined up. He played this peep. And then Lucas should cover his weaknesses somehow, but he's starting to have so many. He has this knight's move cut, this peep here, the connection of the whole group. It's all sort of starting to fall apart, starting to get broken. He connects. It was a mistake. White played here. He plays Hane. White could just fall back. And you can see there's the connection on the top side and the connection through here. Lukan can't take care of both at the same time. He just takes care of the top side, and Ben Zero can cut. And this whole group, Ben Zero was under a lot of pressure to answer it somehow. Lukan played this corner Hane connect move, saying, you've got to answer me small in the corner. And suddenly Ben Zero just went and captured the whole center, made a bajillion points, and reduced the whole black top side. Ben Zero wins. The game is like so switched. Lukan was leading, and then bang, Ben Zero's leading. One thing about Lukan, one reason why perhaps he's struggled in these final important games, is that he's not quite as good when he's behind as he is when he's ahead. When he's ahead, he's a magnificent player, a really, really excellent player, and it takes a magnificent game to reverse the game from him. But when he's behind, he tends to go for very, very direct things like this. He wants to make a story to reverse the game as soon as possible. He doesn't want to miss his chance to do it. But he doesn't necessarily check to verify that it's working and make the kinds of threats that the opponent will find the most uncomfortable. In this case, yes, if white loses this ko, then white can get in big trouble. But white does not feel that much pressure that they're going to lose this ko. At least freely. And at the same time, I mean, this whole black topside group is still not strong, right? And at the same time, Lukan didn't even really play the ko that seriously. He played a forcing move over here and then sort of got distracted by the corner and allowed white to save to link up. It obviously doesn't make any sense to make the ko and then to allow your opponent to link up like this. But Lukan just wanted to take the territory over here. And then this whole black group in the center was also getting in trouble. White played this capture, and yeah, Lukan didn't have to play this Atari and then allow White to cut here, but he was just trying to find a story. He was trying to find some kind of fighting that he could make. But what that has done in the end, now suddenly, as if by miracle, White has outlined all of the center. Originally, White was being chased with all his weak groups, right? And now all of the center has become White territory. There's nothing much for Lukan to do. Ben0 wins. He wedged. He played this great move to save the group, and once he connected that ko, made sure there's no story, then Lukan just resigned. Yeah. Coming back here, this is the critical point of the game, this move. Is it really impossible to answer? Is it really impossible to save somehow? Well, after this and this knight's move peep, probably black is too busy to do anything objectively. But it would be a little bit better to try to fight it like this and like so. Then white could not actually cut this because there's this hane. I mean, white could try, but the ko on the top side would be really heavy if white went all the way through with that kind of plan. So if black could capture these two stones, that would be wonderful. Probably in actual play, we're not going to see white suddenly give up like that. But maybe we'll see this kind of move and then white attacking this whole black group. I mean, white can even still play moves like this one and try to say, hey, I can still cut, or I can still like mess around. I mean, this I can still save my group. I mean, it's not comfortable, but it's probably better than after this block. Now the game is just pretty impossible for black to play. If black would play on this side, then now I think white could connect. If you connect, then the cut here. This is very dubious. There's nothing that black can do anymore. So hane under and connecting this way is the right way. And at this point, I think the AI says that black is only behind by a few points. So it was possible if Lukan would be really, really calm and play absolutely excellently from here. Possible to reverse the game still, probably. But Lukan was not calm. He knew he had just thrown his winning game. And, you know, coming back originally, the reason why he was winning was his just absolutely excellent smooth control of the game. He played a fantastic sequence on the bottom side here. And this white move, this push, is a very common pro-level mistake. Many pros are making this kind of slight overcommit, and many pros are not punishing it. Many pros see that kind of move happen in their game, and they can get a small lead, but in the ensuing fighting, they just let the advantage go. Lukan did not. And when Ben0 made this ensuing mistake, Lukan did not let that advantage go either. This is the way that he built his advantage, was by taking advantage of each of these slightly slow, slight overcommit, very minor mistakes that Ben0 was making. Finally, when it comes here, I believe that at this moment, the correct way to answer was probably here. Then black makes it so that they're as living as possible on the top side. There's as much eye space and eye shape as possible. It looks so awkward though. So for a human, I've almost never seen this move be the correct way to answer. You know, you cover the cutting point by filling your own liberty right next to your cut and allowing your opponent to take the, you know, advantage of this area. But yeah, if you played that way and white would take that vital point on the top side, you can see this move is forming a second eye in the center a lot more easily than any of those other defensive moves would have. That's why this move is probably the right shape. So it's not so easy for white to say, hey, you have, you know, less than 2 eyes here. White could still do this and force black to answer, but black is in much more efficient shape this way than in those other variations that we were looking at. And there's even some chance that black could try some counter-fighting through the center, gain a little bit of extra territory first. I don't know. This move. It's a shame too, because it looks like it's really amateur. It looks like Lukan just got broken and played a terrible move, but actually it was really a deep meaning that his group on the top side was not quite alive and could become broken. It's a shame that even despite the deep meaning, it had no counterpunch to the absolutely excellent play of Ben Zero. And so this game, with one round still remaining, Ben Zero had already been confirmed the next pro of Europe. So he didn't try very hard in the last round, lost that game, and ended up going 9-2 overall. But it was really like 9-1. 9 wins, 1 loss until being confirmed as the next pro. Congratulations, massive congratulations to Ben Zero, 1 Dan professional. Let's go edit that. Not 7 Dan anymore. Now a 1 Dan pro. Yeah, I'm really happy for him. He's a great guy. Deserves it. Really strong player. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you appreciate. If you enjoyed. I'm looking forward to coming back, doing some more game commentary. Nongshim Cup is happening tonight as I record this. I'm going to be watching that, and I hopefully will be reviewing those games. I think I might skip the middle segment since I got busy, got kicked by life a little bit. But now I'm back, and so I might do daily recaps of each of these Nongshim Cup games. It's the finals this year of that tournament. I'm really excited for it, so hopefully tell me in the comments if you guys want to see that. Hopefully I can get that done. I'm really looking forward to coming back to full go activity. Hope you guys are too. See you soon.